everyone, and welcome. Today, I am talking to Meg McCabe, our Director of Programming, and we're going to be talking about retrofitting your home for wildfire. Meg has been on quite a journey to get her own home ready for wildfire, so thanks for sharing your experience with us.
Thanks. I have learned a great deal working with Fire Safe Marin, but today I want to talk to everyone as a homeowner, doing this work around our home, and it is a lot of work, and it's a journey, that's for sure. Let me
Yeah,
share.
so her presentation is going to take us through the work that she did on her own home, but we're going to be sharing resources and tips throughout it that can then help you with your own home.
So this is my husband and me when we moved to San Anselmo in 2018. We moved here from the Northeast, and neither one of us were aware of wildfire at all, really. We had no idea of the conditions that were a threat to our home when we bought our home. And in 2018, when the campfire happened, it really got our attention. I went up a few months after the fire, and I interviewed people for a short video that I was making about their experience, and each one of them ended with really a plea to the people of Marin to say, you don't get a second chance. You take our experience and do the work now and do what is needed to harden your home, to make yourself ready, because as one person said, I don't want you to have to suffer the same pain that I'm suffering now. That really got to me. I mean, it changed my perspective. I came home, I looked around our property, I looked around what I was seeing around all the vegetation around people's homes, and thought, what can we do to make this community safer? I joined Fire Safe Marin in 2020, and we looked anew at our own home. In 2021, it was evaluated for the first time by the Marin Wildfire's Defensible Space Program, and we received a wildfire risk report. On it, it had just about everything that could be wrong with a property wrong. Um, it had a wood shake roof. It had vegetation in zone 0. Hazardous plants lined our fences. We had widescreen vents, a wooden deck, ladder fuels climbing up our carport, and in the back we had wood cedar siding, that's really hard to say, and single pane windows and an attached wooden gate.
Plenty of things to focus on. And for people out there, if you're curious about your report, you can access that by going to the Marin Wildfire website, and they'll have a place where you can look up and see what are the issues with your own home and start from there.
And so we started at the most dangerous spot, which was the wood shake roof. And my brother-in-law helped us to remove the wood shake and replaced it with slate, a good non-combustible option. And we also then went to removing the hazardous plants. Both sides of our home were lined with bamboo. And the reason that the bamboo is such an issue is that the stalks tend to, and the root systems tend to create a nest at the bottom of the plant where all of the shedding of the plant ends up being a dry kindling. So if an ember were to land there during a wildfire, the whole thing goes up very quickly with the dry, thin, hollow stalks. Along a fence line, it just acts as a wick right to your house and across the neighborhoods. Our carport was lined with wisteria, which I loved. It flowers purple in the springtime, but it is a real fire hazard in that as the season dries out, this beautiful plant ends up being a ladder fuel that would carry flame right up from the ground, as you can see there, right up into the roof of the carport, and that would be a very significant fire. On the right, you can see that it's still not a beautiful carport, but it is a nice, clean, and safe.
A lot of work to remove that, but worth it in the end not to have that ladder fuel that's connected right to your building that it would just make a
It's
fire so much worse.
It was more of an emotional thing for me. The actual taking down was my husband and I were just able to take out those big shears and cut it down, and it came down in a few pieces. but the emotional attachment of it was not as easy. But
Yeah,
I'm really pleased now, and I actually like the way it looks.
nice.
My husband and I then got to work on clearing out around zone 0, and this was pretty much just, that was pretty much sweat work. And as you can see here, we put the ground covering, laying river rocks along the sides of all the structures, and in particular in the front of our house. And then we moved on to the vents. And we had originally intended to use these pre-made Vulcan vents, which have a 3-layer fire protection. But when we began our old house, as I said, it's a 1908 house. So it has, when we pulled the vents out, everything, the frame cracked. It was going to be a big mess and a lot of work to fix that way. So instead, we got this package which has the pieces individually. And so we put first the mesh screen and then cut the honeycomb to fit the holes, and then stapled the screen over the top of it. And this is a very fire resistant option that didn't cost very much, and it was pretty easy.
And this is one we have lots of resources on. So you can check out our Fix the Risk video that talks all about vents. Also on our website, we have so much information to help guide you and be able to replace your vents, because that's such an important spot and a vulnerable spot for embers entering your home. So we really encourage you to check out that information.
And here you can see that we replaced the wood shingle siding with hardy board, and it looks like cement board until it's painted. And it actually, if I could zoom in a little closer to this, you'd see that it has all of the ridges and everything of the wood cedar siding, and you can't tell the difference at all between the original part that's on our house and this. It looks exactly the same.
Yeah, it looks great.
Then the privacy screening that we had English laurel lining the back of along the back fence of our house. We learned from master gardeners that one of the things that we needed to do was to get all the dead and dying material out from the interior of it. It had been sheared for years, sheared back with an electric shear, so that the outside looked green, but if you opened it up, it was really just a big ember nest inside there. So we worked over a couple of years, a hand pruning from the inside, and now you can see on the right-hand side, it's really healthy. We also lifted the skirts and put the stones down so that if embers do come there, it would fall through and extinguish below, and has no way of reaching into the canopy of that plant.
And
And
you
then
see Marin Master Gardeners, I just want to give them a shout out because they have so much information about pruning on their website. So if you're curious about this and you're like, oh yeah, we've just been shearing our plants and haven't been thinking about the inside of the plant, check out their website and the information that they have, because it'll help guide you for different plants and the different pruning needs of different plants.
absolutely. And then we replaced the wood deck that was back here. It was in kind of bad repair with a stone option. And you can see this is the before and afters of the entire house. You can see the difference that it makes. The bushes that we took from the front, I was reluctant to thinking that the house would look quite bare, but when we removed the bushes, I found that the architecture of this bank of windows was revealed, and I really like it. I thought if the code comes down and and potted plants are allowed, like we put in the back here, I might use that as an option if it was something that bothered me from the curb appeal. But as I said, I think we're happy with the way it looks now.
Yeah, it looks great.
And the work, we still have work to do ahead. Our next job is to replace the wooden gate with a metal one. And when I made this, I had slotted this down for April. It's now May, and I still have it on the schedule. It's supposed to now be in 2 more weeks, but we'll see if the gate is ready. And then we're going to replace our wooden fence with a non-combustible option. This is really necessary, but it is a shared fence line and our neighbors aren't quite on board yet. So my plan is have to have maybe three quotes taken with different fence options, share it with them, and then open that as a discussion and allow them to choose which one they want. So I've got some work to do there. And then to replace the single pane windows in the front of the house. As you can see here, these are many old lead-filled glass that I really appreciate the way the light comes through. And I was told, because I removed all of the bushes and all of the combustibles in front of the windows, that these windows present a lot less danger for us because it's heat that breaks windows. And so now I've removed the heat source. So I will get around to that, but I'm dragging my feet a bit now.
Well, it really just shows all the things that you've already put work into and that you can prioritize your biggest wildfire risk, doing those actions first. And sometimes it just is a matter of where do I start? And so we really encourage you to use your wildfire risk report as a starting place. And you can always reach out to us if you have any questions. We're always answering our email, info@firesafemarin.org. We have so many resources on our website. We constantly are putting things out in our social media, so we hope that you turn to us as some inspiration and understanding of we know it's a lot of work, but it really just takes a bit by bit approach, and then we can get it done and be more adapted to wildfire. So thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, Meg, for sharing your experience, and we hope to hear from you soon.